Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Apply and Logic podcast. I am your host, Rich. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in, continuing to rock with me, continuing to support. Make sure that when you get a chance, you go ahead, subscribe to the channel so you can get the notifications whenever we got new episodes. If you're listening to the audio, don't forget we got the YouTube page. It's got all the episodes, event recap videos. I'm going to be putting some different new content on there coming shortly, working on some projects this year. So again, thank all you guys for continuing to rock with me. I know it's been a couple of weeks since the last podcast, and I know I said I was going to do it weekly, and I'm still working on that, but it's been a busy couple of weeks. The DMV has had quite a few events. It's been really fun, really good time out here in these streets, so sometimes that's going to keep me from being able to get back to this, which is still what I want to keep doing. I want to be able to get this out weekly. So that being said, really quickly recap the week that went by, the couple of weeks that went by, because it's been a lot of fun out here in the DMV. We had all of the carnival return fetes go down. Shout out to the Hooky Life crew. PCP, post carnival pump, was a really good time. Then the next day, Fetish, Ricky Platinum, big up yourself. That was also a vibe. And last weekend was Sekou Flex, Soca and Rum. Ricky Platinum had Pumper here, and I know I was promoting these ahead of time. So if you've been tuning in, if you've been rocking with me, you already knew these parties were going down. But now in the aftermath, I'm gonna tell you, every one of them an amazing time. The promoters really been doing their thing, really showing out. So I had a great time at all three of the events. Next up in the DMV is, for me at least, the next thing I will be at the DMV is Fire Oats Party Carnival Addiction. That is March 23rd. That Saturday, he's got the Road March champ, Mikel Teja, going to be in the building in the DMV performing DNA and all his other hits. So if you don't have tickets to that yet, go log on to, I don't know where he's selling the tickets, if it's Eventbrite or not. But if you follow Fire Oats or if you follow my page, we'll have the ticket link on there listed for you. So that's the next big thing going on in the DMV. Then, of course, after that, if you're going to Jamaica for Carnival, Jamaica 5th. If you go in Jamaica for Carnival, April 5th, the Friday, the Hooky Life crew is bringing Hooky back to Jamaica. So call out from work, do what you got to do. If you in Jamaica for Carnival, Hooky Jamaica, breakfast fete, pool party, that's going to be a complete vibe. You know, when the Hooky crew get to hook up at an actual carnival is madness. So get your tickets to that right now at hookylife.com. And then, of course, the big one in the DMV, Hooky Weekend, June 13th through June 17th. 6 big events, 5 days. Tickets are available right now the weekend packages are available at hookylife.com. The individual event tickets will be available shortly, but log on right now. You might as well just go ahead, get the weekend package. Great deal, 6 events. 2 of the events are drinks inclusive. It's an amazing time. I can't speak enough about Hooky Weekend. If you've ever been, you already know what the deal is. If you've never been to Hooky Weekend, make this your first year. Make this the year that you experience what all the hype is about. So those tickets are available right now at hookylife.com. So log on, get those, and we're going to see y'all in June. And those are the next few things that I'm going to be at or going to be doing. All that is coming up in the next couple of months, but it's going to start with the 23rd, Fire Oats and Carnival Addiction. That's his Carnival Return Fete. So there has been a lot of talk, and I'm actually glad that I took the last couple of weeks off, because following Trinidad Carnival was all of the posts and the commentary and the think pieces, and everybody had an opinion and feelings and whatever you want to call it from Trinidad Carnival, whether it was the photographers not taking pictures of enough people, or the bands, or issues with the bands and the carts. Oh God, I heard to talk to death about the carts, and the price. We all know about the price, and new Soca not being played. So I am not touching any of that right now. Y'all did it. Y'all won. Congrats. Y'all talked that to death. And taking the little break, because I actually was going to come and talk about some of them topics, but taking a little break and seeing everybody else already discuss it to death gave me an opportunity to just not even have to talk about it. Now, I'm going to be talking just Carnival in general with Dre on the next episode of The Guys Unpacked that we're going to be recording this week. So, and the reason for that is I was not there. And knowing that I wasn't there, I know I have no insight, no valid opinion about this year's Carnival. So I have nothing to offer. But Dre was there as a patron, as a DJ. So he got to see, and he can give his full feedback on it. But it's going to be no Trinidad Carnival bashing going on. I'm just going to talk to him about, we just going to chop up Carnival. So stay tuned for that. If you're not following The Guys Unpacked, we're on all social media platforms. And that episode is going to be coming out sometime in the coming week or weeks. That said, there has been one topic kind of spawning from the whole Carnival debate that I will talk about because I think it's important and I think it's something that transcends just the Carnival situation. And that is the notion, the talk about Soca being seasonal. So I think most of us, anyone who is listening and is also a fan of Carnival, you know, all the Caribbean carnivals revolve around soca music. That's our thing. So soca music has always been viewed as been always connected to Carnival, not just viewed as. Like soca music has been completely intrinsic connection to Carnival. And as a result, it's viewed as seasonal. And in fairness, the way the artists put their music out makes it seasonal. So I'm not even going to say that it's a misconception or it's the way it's viewed. Soca music has been historically seasonal music. And it even goes back to like being in Trinidad. I'm old enough to remember a time when in Trinidad, if you're listening to the radio on Ash Wednesday, from Ash Wednesday forward, you could not even hear soca music on the radio in Trinidad. Like we knew the switch would happen at the beginning of the year. And that's when a lot of the artists drop all their new music, and you could get bombarded and inundated with soca music leading up from like January, leading into Carnival. You'd hear all the songs, you get they play them to death. And then on Ash Wednesday, when Carnival is over, done. Now, that was a long time ago. And I say a long time, probably at least 10 years ago or more. So that's not the case now. And I think a lot of that has come from the popularity of just social media and streaming culture and just having more access to the music in general. So now if you know that I don't need to depend on you as the radio station to play the music, I'm listening to it regardless, then you're seeing that it's still popular beyond Carnival. So a lot of stations keep playing the music after Carnival. I've seen that. So I no longer hold the radio stations accountable for that. Beyond that, with a lot of the other carnivals from other islands becoming more and more popular, the soca music gets a little bit more life to continue to breathe and build throughout the course of the year. So now, I remember there was a time when my sister would joke with me, because she still lives in Trinidad, and she would joke that, yeah, you're hearing more soca than me. Like after Carnival, when I would come back, she's like, you hearing more soca than me right now. Because in Trinidad, it was not even getting played. But here in the States, because we go into parties and we would have like internet radio stations and things like that, that would be dedicated to playing soca throughout the year, I could still hear the music, right? But that's not the case anymore. Like you can still hear soca in Trinidad past Carnival. So that was the point on the whole radio thing. But the music itself is still viewed as seasonal. It's still connected and attached to Carnival. And a lot of people, I've heard the sentiment from some like American friends. And some people aren't even friends, just listening to conversations revolving around soca where they don't actually like soca music. But in that environment of being in the islands or at a carnival, at the parade, or playing mass, or going to a fete where everybody else, it's all around you, it becomes infectious. And in those settings, they like it. But when they leave there, they won't play it in their car. It's not something, it's not the music that they run to or they gravitate to for easy listening or to hear outside of the specific settings of a soca event, a Caribbean event, a carnival event. So, and that's a real sentiment, a real, true, honest sentiment. And I understand it. So I'm going to talk about my thoughts on addressing that, because I think if, as the artists are saying and some of the DJs are saying and the people involved and some of the stakeholders in Carnival are saying, like, they want to move the music globally. They've been saying for years, they want a more global representation of soca. They want it to be more popular. You see the popularity of reggae and dancehall music. You see Afrobeat. You see the popularity of other genres of music to where it's not, to where those genres are infiltrating Carnival and are starting to get play in the place where soca music was at the forefront. They're starting to try to find ways to play other musics in those settings. So I think it's important now to say, okay, how do we get soca to that point where it is not just viewed as carnival music, or even though it is viewed as carnival music, it's seen beyond that. And I think there's a couple things that needs to happen. First of all, and I heard DJ Gel say this, so big up to him. I didn't listen to the whole interview, but I did hear him say this. The artists in general need to be more about the business, the music business, beyond just being artists, beyond the artistry, beyond making the music. So they need to get themselves more hip to the business of promoting, pushing, and selling their music. Because what'll happen for Carnival is you will get 1,000 songs dropped. I don't even think I'm exaggerating when I say 1,000. Like, I don't know exactly how many, but I know way more songs drop than you will actually hear on a mix, or a lot of songs will drop. That number will get dwindled down by the time DJs put songs on their mixes. And even on the longest, when the DJs put together their mixes, a long mix will be 2.5, 3 hours. That's like a Private Ryan Soca Brainwash or a DJ Gel Soca Switch. I think it's Soca Switch. Either way, some of the longer mixes, right, will still leave a lot of songs off. And then by the time you get to the parties, the fetes, the road, Carnival, a lot of songs on the mixes not getting played in those. Like, it's only the hits getting played then. Like, by the time you get to Carnival week in Trinidad, only the hits getting played on the radio, only the hits getting played wherever you go. So it really dwindles down to the biggest songs. Meanwhile, there was 400, 500, 1,000 songs made for this one season. And that's where artists are having a hard time, because there are a lot of artists who are putting out music. I'll use art like Bungie, for example, would put out 4 or 5 songs for the season. Maybe 2 of them will hit. So there'll be 3 songs that just fall by the wayside. And he's a big artist. So most DJs and promoters and whoever are looking for his music to put on their mix. They're listening for his releases. If you're a smaller artist, a lot of DJs not even looking for your music. Your music has to cut through to get the recognition. So I bring up the timing of the drop to say some of these artists, and not even just them, like this can go and count for artists across the board, but particularly if you know that you have a hard time and you're struggling to get your music to break through when everybody else is dropping, some of y'all need to time when you are dropping your music differently, so that it does have that clear runway. It is able to come out in a time when there aren't a lot of other songs to compete with. So now your core fan base, your listeners, whoever it is, gets the opportunity to hear and take in the song, and DJs get to hear it and actually appreciate it by itself, or appreciate it when there isn't a crowded playing field. Time your drops. Like the way, okay, let me bring it back for a second. because Carnival was normally viewed in terms of the music from the competition standpoint, like you would have the Calypso Monarch, the Soca Monarch. So artists would put music out to compete. The committees created the rules where, like, for a song to be considered a 2024 song, it had to have been released after Ash Wednesday of 2023. So artists sometimes would have songs written, and I'm saying this like, because I noticed artists would have songs written, produced, ready, mixed and mastered, ready to go. But because of whatever was happening that year, would hold it back and say, you know what, I'm gonna drop this next year. Because, you know, anything after Ash Wednesday would count as a following year drop. But that's strictly for competition purposes. Now, for a lot of you artists who are not competing, you're not worried about Road March, you're not worried about Soca Monarch, you are about the artistry, about the music, and you're about getting the music beyond Trinidad. Because let's be real, even if you don't win Road March, you don't win Soca Monarch, if you have one of them songs, you have a hit song, you have a song that is making waves, you can get bookings all year and you can perform it. That could be the song that springboards you to that next level as a soca artist. So like you can ride that song to shows all over the US, every US based carnival, every other Caribbean carnival, Notting Hill, UK, all of them. Every soca event, Uber, Melee, Soca Weekender, all of that stuff, right? So I believe your concern should be less of trying to put out a song to get into into the season, but thinking, okay, when would be a good opportunity for me to drop this music that I have a clear, unobstructed path to just drop the music and people listen to it. So it starts with the timing. Yes, there should still be music put out specifically for Carnival, but there should be a consistent effort, a conscious effort rather, to put music out throughout the year. Put together an album, put together multiple songs, put together an EP, get a few songs together and market it that way. Where I'm saying, I'm giving you a collection of my music. I'm going to create more than the one song. I'm going to create more than the one sound. Because even within the structure of putting out music for Carnival, there are different sounds. There's groovy, there's power. With the power, you have the jab, or you have jab, you have the traditional power, but you also have the songs that have been more recent years, the more melodic songs, some with a more kind of EDM tempo to them. So like, if you as a soca artist concentrate on being more versatile, you can create multiple sounds for the year, and one or two of them, all you need is one or two of them to catch fire, to propel the others, to make people now go back and listen to the other things that you put out. And again, not focusing solely on dropping for Trinidad Carnival. Focus on putting out songs for Trinidad Carnival that will bubble through that season, that will give Trinidad Carnival good new music to listen to. But now, if you have a couple in the tuck, don't wait till the following Carnival season. If you know, okay, you're getting ahead of myself. Take advantage of the fact that there are multiple carnivals throughout the year that you as an artist, even if you're a Trinidad artist, you as an artist can take advantage of. You can get these bookings to go to these other islands. So if you're one of these big artists, I would be making songs. I'd be making a song for St. Vincent. I'd be making a song for Barbados. I'd be making a song for Lucia. Even though Jamaica Carnival is right after Trinidad, so it's kind of close, I'd be making songs specifically for Jamaica. I would be finding different sounds throughout the year. I would focus on my artistry and finding different sounds throughout the year that I can continue to make music that after the Carnival season, people aren't suddenly like shifting gears. They're like, oh, shoot, so-and-so got a new track that just dropped this week, or this one got new music. And keep yourself popping up. And you don't need to run that Trinidad Carnival song throughout the year. Because when you're running the same music, when you're dropping the music in January and deciding this song or these two songs that were hot in January, they're going to carry me through the year. And then the following January, I'm going to drop another song. Then yes, the music becomes seasonal because now folks are only looking for you to drop in December, January to make songs for February that you're going to ride the wave of the year. So that's where it starts. Expanding when you drop and put out new music and embracing some of the other carnivals. The other part of it is something I touched on earlier, but I want to expand on now. Being more versatile with your sound. I will give a lot of artists credit for this. A lot of artists have been trying to make music with more of a crossover appeal. And that is one of the things that was one of the complaints that you heard from people, where a lot of the music in Trinidad Carnival has become like too commercial. And when you see some of the smaller islands and the vibes of some of the older, traditional, more power-based soca, it does have a different energy and a different feel to it. Some of the music for Trinidad Carnival has slowed down. Trinidad has embraced a groovier kind of soca, more melodic. It looks to me like a conscious effort to make music that can cross over a lot better. And that's fine. I think that's necessary. I think it comes with all genres of music that you have to expand beyond your original fan base if you want it to have global appeal. Like, I can't only appeal to Trini people if I want soca to have a bigger push. Like, I have to get some people who are just fans of R&B, fans of hip hop, fans of pop music. I have to get some of them to hear this and be like, yo, I like this. I have to get it played in places that have nothing to do with Carnival in order for it to get to that place. And if I'm only making music that is very Carnival centric, and soca people know that, you know, the music, it's like when hip hop was strictly underground hip hop and strictly about lyrics and rap. Like, it didn't have that crossover appeal yet, and then some artists changed. They evolved. You started getting more songs with little hooks sung by R&B acts and more commercially popular records, and they started to change the dynamic. It didn't mean that the artists that were making that raw, rugged rap stopped doing it. It meant that now we're globalizing this, but we're also keeping for what the purists want. Soca can do the same. You can make the songs that you're going to try to get into American clubs and try to get into places that we're not typically listening to soca. You're trying to get different ears to hear it. So I need to tweak the sound a little bit to make it more palatable to other places. But I'm also still going to make that raw, that real fat party, that jump up and down music that probably only hits in the islands and only hits during Carnival and will only hit on the road. But yeah, that's cool too, because you know what? We need that too. So that's where the artists, I think, need to really take the time and focus on their artistry and creating a more versatile sound, something that make some songs that can go outside of the island and make some songs that are just authentic to Carnival. It doesn't have to be an either or. You don't have to commit to one lane and just focus on that entirely. I think if the artists do those things, those three things, be better about the business, be more about the actual music business, more than just make the music, but how do I market it? How do I push it? Because, I didn't even get to that. Some of you artists are not actually promoting your music. You make the song, you drop the song, you put the song on social media, and then that's it. Yes, social media is an amazing tool. It's a great tool to get your stuff out there. And a lot of you have done a lot of work to build your fan base organically through social media. But remember, when you have a strictly Caribbean style music that's already deemed or believed to be seasonal and beyond seasonal, remember, each island has their own sound. The only island that has a carnival that kind of doesn't have its own sound really right now is Jamaica. But the other islands all have their own sound. So like, you are making your market tinier and tinier. And then if the only thing you're doing to promote it to an already small market is make the song, put it on YouTube, post on Instagram that your song is on YouTube, share that a couple times, and then move on to the next. Then yeah, you're gonna get some really good songs that will not get the push, will not get the backing. It'll never get to the places it needs to be. So some of you need to really spend more time, and I'm saying this from like following artists and watching them and seeing songs just die. Like, I put it out, I didn't have much faith in it, and I just never really did anything with it. Like, the song is out, it's on my page, but that's it. Nah. The promotion of this music needs to be better. It does. There needs to be a more conscious, committed effort to like promoting some of these songs that y'all know is good, that you guys know are good songs. So don't everybody drop in January. That's the first part of it. Because if everybody drops in January, a lot of music is going to fall by the wayside. It's just natural. It's going to happen. Everybody, they're not going to put all those songs on their mixes, and then they're not going to play all the songs on the mixes on the road and in parties. So you're immediately eliminating more than half the songs by everybody dropping in January at the same time. So space out your drops a little bit more. Drop during the year. Don't wait till Miami Carnival to drop. You got April, May, June, July, all summer. Drop during the year. Put out music throughout the year. And when you put out music that isn't specifically timed for Carnival, spend the time promoting it. That's part 2. Put the music out different times. Spend the time promoting it. Be about your business and focus on making songs with a different kind of appeal. Focus on the music making, not just making a song for Carnival. Find your sound and tweak it so that it's in a way that, yeah, this could be a song for Carnival, but this could translate beyond that. And you know what? I'm also going to make a song that is strictly that is directly for Trinidad. That's directly for St. Vincent. That's directly for St. Lucia. I don't care if this song don't go anywhere other than the island, because I'm going to make a couple other songs that are meant to be those crossover songs. I think if the artists start to really take those steps and do those things, there's a good chance, a better likelihood that the soca music can start to grow as a genre beyond what a lot of us are seeing right now. So that is my only takeaway that I'm going to talk about from the Carnival season, because like I said, all the rants were what they were, and I'm not getting on any of that because I y'all did it to death. I will say this though. I will say one thing. Trinidad Carnival is expensive. All right? Trinidad Carnival is expensive. There's no getting around the expense of it. If you did not have a good time and you've been complaining and you've made posts and ranted and raved and all of this other stuff about the expense of Trinidad Carnival, and it wasn't what you wanted, and the vibes isn't the same, and the carts and the photographers and blah, 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 blah. All I will say is 2025, you don't have to go. It is really that simple. It's too expensive a thing to go if you did not enjoy it. That's not even shade. That's not even saying don't come. That is me saying, why spend the money to go to something that you know is expensive and you know you didn't fully enjoy the last time you went? So there are other carnivals happening the same time as Trinidad that might offer you the thing you're looking for that you weren't able to find in Trinidad. So try one of those. There are other carnivals throughout the course of the year. You can skip February, March altogether and go to one of the other carnivals and probably have a blast because it might be more of what you're looking for. So all of that to say, if you complained and complained and complained following Trinidad Carnival, I suggest next year you do something else. But that's a suggestion. That's not telling anybody what to do. That's my suggestion. I, for one, will be there, though. March 3rd and 4th are the days of Carnival Monday and Tuesday, so plan your travel accordingly. Some things are already available. Some things are going to be coming available in the next weeks and months. I already have my rental car booked, and I know where I'm staying. So the next thing is to get my plane ticket, which I am going to do next month as soon as plane tickets become available. So I will be in Trinidad. I will be in Trinidad for Carnival next year, God willing, and nothing major or catastrophic happens between now and then. So I'm already telling y'all. March 3rd and 4th, you will see me in Trinidad. I am not missing 2 years in a row. I don't care who complained or who said what. I don't care about the carts. I don't care about the photographers. I don't care about the expense of the fets, none of that. I will find things to go to that are within my budget. Trust me. So, all right. So we did it. We did everything we could regarding Trinidad and Carnival. I'm going to shift gears real quick. I had other things to talk about, and then today I saw a new Shay interview. And all right, first off, let me start by saying y'all gonna leave Shannon Sharpe alone. All right. We saw him, we saw the video, the pictures of him getting out the car with the Merce and the green outfit. And like, you get a still shot from a video. It may not look the best, it may not be the most flattering look, but y'all gonna leave Shannon Sharpe alone. Like, we see all the I'ma say this. I don't know the man. I'm a fan. I've been a fan for a long time of the music. I'm obviously a football fan. And Shannon Sharpe is one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game. He is definitely in the top 3. You can say top 5. I say top 3 tight ends of all time. So you ain't going to hear a lot of negative slander or talk from me about Shannon Sharpe. Y'all going to stop calling this man names because it's unwarranted. Also, it's not even an insult, like, if it was, but I definitely don't think Shannon Sharpe is. So I'm gonna leave that at that. But the club Shay has been on a roll this year. Like, he is knocking the podcast game out the park. And I've said this before, and I feel like I may end up saying it again a few more times, because everything he's doing in this space has been just, it's been really fun to watch. And it really kind of like highlights just how versatile you can be. Like, how much you don't have to stick to one thing. You don't have to say, okay, this is where I was successful. This is all I know. This is all I can do. It's okay to pivot, and you can be successful within that pivot. And we see it all the time with a lot of these businessmen, these rappers turn entrepreneurs, like the Nas, the 50 Cents, the Jay-Z, whoever, who started one lane and pivoted. And Shannon Sharpe is doing that flawlessly, in my opinion. His most recent interview was with Steve Stoute. And I am going to say that, to me, I watched a lot of it today. I didn't finish it because I had other things going on, and then I had to come do this. But I watched a lot of it today, and I like that interview more than a lot of the others. Now, we all know the Cat Williams. We can say, despite the fact that he was doing Club Shay for a little while, the Cat Williams interview is the one that really took him over the top. And there's no question about that. Like, the numbers that interview did were crazy, and it took him over the top because of Cat. Cat is who Cat is, and the things that he was saying in that interview got a lot of attention. It had comedians up in arms. The comedian beef been off the chain this last couple of months, and they still beefing. Like Corey Holcomb and Godfrey. Like, it's just every time I log on, comedians are beefing with somebody, and it seems like a lot of people are beefing with Corey Holcomb, and probably rightfully so. But anyway, the Cat Williams interview was the interview, and that will probably be viewed when we look back at Club Shay a couple of years from now, as the thing that really springboarded its popularity, because like it took off after that. And then you had, the Monique interview was also good, interesting, whatever you want to call it. But for me, I don't necessarily care for the spicy, because they're good for the ratings, they're good for the views, they're good for the engagement, it's good to get things rolling. But what I really liked was this Steve Stoute interview, because it was Shannon Sharpe getting industry insight and industry stories and interesting stories from someone who has seen, been around, been involved with a lot of different people in music, sports, entertainment, and it was great to listen to. his team has been great at choosing the people to sit down and talk to, because like Shannon Sharpe, although he is a media personality now, he obviously was a football player first, and he was not a journalist per se, you know? So that not being his forte, and he's worked at it. He's worked really hard at getting into the media thing. His researchers do a great job, and his on-air personality is great. But he doesn't get into the interviews where he needs to dominate, where he needs to ask the hard-hitting questions, where he needs to create the dialogue. No, he gets interviews with people who can sit down and carry the interview themselves, who are great oral communicators, who can just go. Monique is one of those. She can just go. Kat, he can just go. Brittany Renner, as much as I don't know her like as a celebrity to care about what she does or who she is, it was a good interview. And she carried a lot of it. She's great on camera. Steve Stoute, one of those. He, like, if you haven't seen it yet, it starts off like they go, like, the dynamic of the interview is great. It's not in the typical set. They are on the street. They go to Queensbridge projects. They get they get Nas on the FaceTime. Like, they're getting stories of when Steve Stoute first went out there to meet Nas. Like, it's a dope interview to see Shannon in them places, to see the dynamic of him, Steve Stoute, and then sitting in the car having conversation, and just, like I said, if you haven't seen it, go see it. I bring it up to say this. I'm not going to get into all of the details because they talk about a lot. They talk about Kobe, LeBron, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Ja Rule. They talk about a lot. The thing that stood out to me was, and it was a very short part of the interview, it was his comment about Skip Bayless. If you know me at all, you know I cannot stand Skip Bayless as a sportscaster, as a media personality, I don't want him to be on TV, quite frankly, at this point. I don't think he serves any purpose on TV, not even as a foil. Like, it pains me to see him still doing what he's doing, right? That said, we give credit where credit is due. Skip Bayless, for a lot of people, created or popularized the debate show format. And regardless of how you feel about it, it's wildly popular. Wildly popular right now. People would argue that Pardon the Interruption was really the first debate show, and I think it was, but like Skip Bayless and that cold pizza first take format really kind of took it to the forefront with him and the rotating cast, and him and Stephen A. then taking that and going to FS1, right? So, but Skip Bayless has become a caricature. It's not even logical when you watch him on TV. Like, the arguments he makes, like if he doesn't like a person, and he just makes these completely illogical, pointless arguments. Like, if he likes you, he will find the slightest little thing to validate you. And if he doesn't like you, he will find the slightest little thing to invalidate you. So he's annoying to watch on TV. It is like, I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan. And he caught a lot of flack last year for the things that he did that led to Shannon Sharpe leaving Undisputed. I bring it up because I know I've said this before, like, that exit from Undisputed for Shannon Sharpe. Undisputed was the rival to First Take, which Skip propped up, got it to a point, and left for FS1 to make more money. And Stephen A. Smith continued the run and continued the ascension. ESPN is obviously a bigger station than FS1. It has a bigger market share, so it is going to be the worldwide leader. They're going to get more people, but Stephen A. managed to keep the quality going and keep it as number one. So FS1 was always behind, but I liked FS1 at the time with Shannon Sharpe. I only watched it for Shannon Sharpe at that point because I couldn't stand Skip Bayless, but Shannon was like gold on TV. It was always funny. It was always something that, it was must-watch TV. Steve Stoute in the interview was like, I don't understand why these, because after Shannon's departure, Skip Bayless went and got like this, not even departure. After Skip got Shannon fired because he did not want to continue to work with him. Because quite frankly, Skip was jealous of Shannon's ascension. He wanted a co-star who was beneath him, not literally, but figuratively. He needed to be the boss. And Shannon's popularity was growing to a point where Skip couldn't handle it. So after they bumped heads and Skip showed his overall jealousy of Shannon's popularity, even to the point of Shannon had Club Shay Shay and Skip went and started a podcast, which I watched an episode of and it's boring as hell. So the jealousy got to the point where Skip couldn't share the stage with Shannon anymore because Shannon's star was starting to outshine Skip. And it became clear that people were tuning in mainly for Shannon. Got him out of there. Got rid of him. Had the execs at FS1 unceremoniously release him, buy him out of his contract, let him go on to, they didn't even know it'd be greener pastures at the time, but just let him go. And Stephen A saw that and was like, nah, we got a seat for you over here, and was very public about wanting Shannon to come on board. Like, said it on his podcast, said that he talked to the guys over at ESPN that they want Shannon Sharpe, and they got him. And they got him for the football season, and now he's still on there for basketball season. And let me tell you, I would not be surprised at all if next season, he's on 5 days a week. He's only on 2 days a week right now. He's only on Mondays and Tuesdays. But it would not surprise me one bit if ESPN either brings him on 5 days a week or starts paying him to pop up on other shows like the Get Ups, not Party Interruption, Sports Center. Like I can see him doing things beyond just the 2 days at First Take. But anyway, back to Steve Stoute and the Club Shay Shay interview. Steve Stoute said, I don't understand why these black guys keep going on this show. Skip Bayless is showing y'all that he needs the black athlete, rapper, whoever, to make him relevant, to prop up this show. And at this point, I'm not saying he's always needed that, because Skip is who he is. He's built his career in media. But today, in 2024, yes, he absolutely needs that. He went and got Michael Irving, Keyshawn Johnson, and Richard Sherman. And like on Thursdays, I think he has Lil Wayne come up there. Like, he went and got a rotating cast of people, basically copied Stephen A's formula at First Take to be his co-stars to replace one Shannon Sharpe. And it has not even come close. Folks, I know I personally have not seen a single episode of Undisputed since Shannon left. I've never looked back. Didn't bother. I don't care for Keyshawn or Michael Johnson, or Michael Irving or Richard Sherman. Not that I don't care for them, but just none of them is as entertaining or engaging to me. So I haven't watched an episode. And I'm a big sports fan and I'm a debate show fan. But the show has not been the same. And just this week, last week, it hit the lowest ratings it had. And then compared to First Take, which is still continuing to ascend, it had like 50,000 viewers or something like that. So the show is on the way down. And Steve Stoute said it. He was like, I don't understand why these black athletes are going there. Y'all are clearly the ones propping him up at this point. You guys are the reason that the shows are even popular. What they need to do instead of, and he's making the big dollars and they're getting paid pennies on the dollar, especially compared to what he's making. So what they need to do is let him try to do it by himself and see where it gets him. Like, let him try to carry the show without the assistance of the athlete that he brings on to validate his show. And it wouldn't last. And it's true. For everything that he's done for the Stephen A's and the Shannon Sharpes to bring them, to get them to where they are now, that's in the past. Skip Bayless is the past. He is, his takes are irrelevant. Like nobody, like I don't think he has the fan base he used to. And people usually would just tune in, like kind of almost hate watching. You're almost watching just because you don't like what he has to say. At least that's the reason I did. And I used to like watching Shannon give him the business. But now, without that, I don't care to watch the show. And it was just interesting that Steve Stoute went on this like minute-long just rant and attack. And Shannon, with all the classiness in the world, was like, yeah, I just like where I'm at now. And went straight into the break. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't chime in. He didn't take no shots. He didn't hit below the belt. He said nothing out of line. He was like, yeah, well, I kind of like where I'm at now. And that was it. And I loved seeing that. Let Steve Stoute do what he did. And then he took the high road and then they cut to break and came back on a different topic. So it was great. But like I said, Club Shay Shay, because I enjoyed that interview today, because it was more of what I like to see. I don't need the salacious, the spicy. I don't need the telling all the tea in Hollywood. I don't need the talking about which person did this for this role and who owes who money. I liked hearing Steve Stoute talk about his rise, the things he did. Good stories about Kobe were great. Like if you were a Kobe Bryant fan, like this could only make you appreciate Kobe Bryant's work ethic more. Just talking about ownership, betting on yourself. It was a great interview. 2 hours. Like I said, I didn't finish it, but I'm going to. So I highly recommend you watch it. Shout out to Shannon Sharpe, Club Shay Shay. It's an absolute treasure. He is knocking it out the park in this podcast business, and I love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. So, round of applause for Shannon Sharpe. Moving on to the next topic, or the next couple of topics. And these are going to be a few kind of jumbled and bunched together, because I realized I don't like to pod about other pods. I don't want to talk about other things that other people are talking about, but it gets to the point where you see so much stuff that like some of it becomes interesting and some of it becomes some of it just grabs my attention to the point where I just can't not talk about it. And then when friends are sending me stuff for my take, like, yo, Rich, did you see this? What do you think about this? It's like, you know what? I'm going to give you my opinion and we're going to have our conversation, but I'm also going to take this to the podcast because that's what it's for, right? So there's been a couple of stories circulating on social media that I'm going to run through really quickly. Before I get to those, for all of the bars, the dive bars, the saloons in Texas and all that stuff, that are angry at, that are calling Texas Hold'em and Beyonce's music not country. We hear you. We get it. We understand. You guys don't like it. I didn't even think this was still a topic until I saw it on a news article today. And I'm going to tell you, every time you all get mad or talk about how it's not country or say anything negative or inflammatory about Beyonce's music, you are empowering the Beehive with the strength of 1,000 exploding suns to go download and stream the music more, to make sure that it continues to push to the top of every country music chart. So if you guys think that by discrediting or saying that the music is not country because you don't like it is going to stop, because the album's coming out this month. So for all of your efforts to, like, the radio stations that aren't playing it, or the dive bar, the bars and the saloons and all of the stuff that won't acknowledge the songs, guys, it's you cannot escape it. You can't get away from it. Beyonce is making country music. She's putting out a country album. I guarantee you she's going to be at the CMAs this year. there's nothing you could do about it at this point. So you can either just embrace it and just live with it, or you can fight it and make the beehive go even harder. But you won't stop it. That's the bottom line. Like, you won't be able to prevent her from doing this, and you won't be able to prevent it from topping country charts, simply because they will download and stream it and play it in places that you will not hear other country music being played, because it's also going to be played in urban and hip hop stations. So I understand being upset that, and Beyonce is not the first Black artist to do country music. So it's not even, I don't even think it's a Black thing. I think you guys just don't like who she is and her level of popularity and her stances in general now being associated with country music. And I'm going to tell you that how angry it's making some of you brings a smile to my face. It really does. Like, I even if I hated the songs, and I don't, I like both of them, but even if I hated the songs, I would stream them more just to make people mad, just to make y'all upset. So keep on hating, keep talking trash about Beyonce, keep doing all of that stuff, and we just gonna keep making the song bigger and bigger. That's all. That's off my rant. Back to social media real quick. So saw a couple topics this week that I absolutely have to talk about. I'm going to start with this woman. All these topics I got from Spiritual Word at some point. So, shout out to Spiritual Word. I'm getting to a point where I realize I could do a whole podcast just commenting on posts on Spiritual Word, and that could be the entire hour easily. But these were the ones that stood out to me the most. So it was a show, a woman with 33-year-old woman with 7 children was on some show, don't know what the show was, asking if she could find a quality man. And the young lady who was hosting the show gave her some good, honest reality feedback. And after that, like, that post started trending, and a friend sent it to me because they thought it was funny, and I thought it was funny, and I listened to it. So it sparks a conversation between me and some friends. So again, this young lady, 33 years old, has 7 children. All of them by the same man, her husband, at the time. They are not together. So I think all of the children, if I'm not mistaken, they're all under 12 years old. But she's now single and is wondering, could she find a good quality man, all things considered? So I ask you guys, because I know my answer, I'm going to tell you my answer. Could you all date a woman or a man? Could you date a person with 7 children? All the children by the same person. So it's not like 7 children, 7 baby mothers or baby fathers. And you can comment your response and how you feel about it. My answer was no. It was real quick. And even my friend who I was talking to, we were having a conversation, and the answer is no. I cannot date someone going into a relationship with them having 7 children already, even if they're by the same person, even if it was from a marriage, because at that point, it's not even about your past. Like, let's be clear. It's not about having had children, because I have a child, and I was always totally prepared to date and have dated and been in relationships with women with children. So that's not a new thing. That's not the issue. It definitely is a number thing. And 7 is, for me, 7 is nuts. Especially 7 under the age of 12, because I genuinely feel like if you're just messing around with somebody and it's just physical, there's nothing serious, you don't have any plans on anything more, then yeah. Then at that point, the children don't matter to me, because I don't see a future with you. So I don't have any concern about what it becomes, where it goes to. If I am actually actively dating you and I see a future with you, then that means that comes with even if it's not in that moment, that means I have to at some point be able to see myself accepting whatever comes with dating you. And I feel like children in general, when you date someone with children, you are accepting the responsibility of whatever role you have to play in the lives of those children. And when that number is 7, that is a lot. That is a lot of responsibility to accept going into a relationship, trying to be with someone, whether you have children or not, because I think you get into a situation where if you're becoming a blended family at that level, then, and you may not have wanted that many kids for your own life, then to accept that many children by getting with this woman and being serious with this woman, that's asking a lot of anybody. If you don't have children, now you're running into a situation of, well, do I really want to start with a ready-made family of 7? And this isn't even taking into consideration the relationship that she has or that the children have with their biological father. Like, what is his involvement and what level of involvement does that mean that is going to be expected from you by getting with this person? I think that the numbers game that you play is obviously different with 1 or 2, 3 children. You know what I mean? Once you start to hit the 4, 5, 6 numbers, it becomes unappealing to me. So I'm not saying that nobody would get into that situation, because obviously someone would. But I just know for me, 7 was too much. Okay? But even taking the number of children out, well, it's not even taking the number of children out of the equation, because the number is actually the key of the problem. When you take that number of children, you have to ask yourself, what was the issue with you and those kids' father that got you here? Because at the end of the advice that the woman was giving her, the host of the show, was kind of or work it out with their dad. You know what I'm saying? Kind of laughing, kind of joking, but I think kind of being serious, because in all honesty, if you were married to someone for 5, 10, 11, 12 years, right? However long they were married, and you're now divorced and at the point of back on the dating scene. So I don't know her situation. I don't know how long I didn't watch the actual episode. I just got the Cliff Notes. So I don't know at what point in her dating life she's at. But I know the premise was she's wondering if she can find a good man. So if you are back to dating, so you're not with the father of the children, that means you're accepting and owning that the relationship is over. If you are there, I feel like for most people in a relationship, it takes a while to get there, to just being like, no, this is done. This is my past. I'm not going back there. If you're there were steps you took to get there. Like, that doesn't happen overnight. So at some point, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, things had to have started to go left for you to get to the point of breaking up. But you continue to have kids with this person. Like, y'all continue to reproduce. So at what point were you all just being careless, just being reckless, that the relationship would still end? So now you have to ask yourself, well, should I even be looking for a new relationship? Should I figure out what it is that caused this last relationship to end? Is it something in me? Is it something I was looking for? Is it something that he did wrong that I couldn't like? Whatever it is that caused the end of that relationship, now you have to start to really reevaluate, because Where was the point that you knew that relationship was over? Where was the point where you should have stopped having children? And I believe your children are a blessing. I'm not telling you that you should wish you had less or anything like that, but I'm saying to have 7 kids with somebody and break up is nuts to me. it's because where was the cutoff point? Where was it that the relationship started to go left? Because I feel like if I have 7 kids with you, I'm not going anywhere. We working out whatever we got to work out. We are going to figure this out. 7? Nah, we gonna figure this out. We gonna sit down. We gonna talk. I'm gonna be in the other room. Let me know when you're ready to talk. If you're not cool, you're not ready to talk right now. Come back later. Whatever we got to do, we are going to figure it out. I'm not leaving. Not leaving 7 children. So not at that point. You know what I mean? So if somewhere earlier than that, y'all started to fall apart, y'all should have stopped. Like, it should have been a point where, yo, I can't keep getting pregnant, going to the hospital, having your kids, knowing that we don't have a future. That's nuts to me. So as a man walking into that, I'm looking at that as a red flag too, because I'm like, something about your decision making isn't correct. Because that's a lot. That is a lot. So that story caught my attention, and I had the conversation with a homegirl. And again, I asked her, would you, guy, 7 kids? Because she was asking me like, yo, but what if you really love the person? Blah, 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 blah. I was like, I can tell you right now, I would never get to that point, because if I meet you and you have 7 children, I am never putting myself in a situation to date you. So I will never fall in love with you. So I'll never have to worry about us getting there. You will be in my friend zone. End of story. So, and in the course of that conversation, we even got to like the age of kids, because I had another friend who was concerned, and she has 1 child, and we had a conversation a couple years ago where she was genuinely concerned about her stock in the dating market because of her child. And she felt like it was a turn off to some men or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, it's not like at our age, at this point in the game. Yes, there are some men who would prefer that you have no children, but most people our age know that they are dating. If they're actively dating and single, there's a high likelihood that the person they're dating may have a child. Again, she only had 1, and she was concerned. Meanwhile, this chick got 7. So, and we had a long talk regarding that and dating with someone with children. Do you prefer that the man have children as well? Are you willing to have more children, et cetera, et cetera? And so it got to the conversation with my more recent homegirl with just, what is the age of the child that you think is appropriate before you start dating someone? Because I was asking, what is the youngest? If you met a guy, first it started with, what is the most number of children he could have, most number of baby mothers, etc., and what's the youngest? And she was like, well, she dated a guy who had a 2-month-old. And I was like, what? A 2-month-old? She was like, yeah. And she started telling me the story of why it didn't, and everything she told me of why it didn't work. I already was telling her like, yeah, that could never work, because 2 months old, like, that child is a baby. That breakup is recent. And those 2 people haven't figured out how to co-parent yet, because that child doesn't have the needs that it's going to have. It hasn't started daycare, preschool, schooling. It hasn't had like the doctor visits. Like, there are a lot of things that go into co-parenting that those 2 people haven't figured out, and their breakup is probably very recent. So there's going to be some resentment, some hurt feelings, some whatever caused them to not work out is still going to be lingering. So like, and she was like, yeah, it didn't work because X, Y, and Z that I just detailed. So, so there's a lot that goes into the dating field in general, beyond just the number of children. Like, the age of the child when you start dating that person is another big major consideration that should be thought about before you even look to date someone with children. But all that to say, 7 is still nuts. Like 7 is still nuts. On the topic of dating with children, though, because we pivoting right to, I'm telling you, social media been giving me some gems this week. Why are men still so hurt about Russell Wilson and Future's child? I need to know, because I saw this today and I was genuinely shocked that this is still a topic in 2024. Russell Wilson and Ciara got married in 2016. They have had 3 children together since getting married. And her child with Future was either 1 or 2 when they met and got together and started dating. So like, he's been in this child's life his entire life. Yet men seem so hurt when Russell Wilson does anything with this child that he helped raise, because it's his wife's first child and the sibling of his 3 children. So for all intents and purposes, that is his child as well. Not biologically. Men, stay out. Don't even comment on this. For all intents and purposes, that is his child as well, because that is his wife's child and the sibling of his 3 children, right? But I saw a thing from a podcast today where the woman literally asked, like, what is it that men are so mad about? And dude gave one of the dumbest answers I've heard. Like, it's not the dumbest, but it's up there. And again, this was also on Spiritual Word if y'all want to see it. I'm not playing it. I don't download some of these clips to even play them back, because it's like, I don't even want this on my phone or laptop to have to share it. You know, I see it, I comment, and I keep it moving. But he was like, you know, I'm a stepdaddy myself, and it's just like what he's doing is like he's doing too much. He's doing it for likes. He's doing it for publicity, and he's getting a lot of credit just for being home, just for being there. He's in the house and he's getting credit just for being there. Meanwhile, as the father who's not in the household, I gotta do extra. Like, he's getting credit for doing what's within his norm. Meanwhile, I got to do extra and go outside my norm because my child don't live with me, and like, it's all lame. And I played it back a couple times to see if I missed something, because again, I said it was the stupidest, dumbest, like, it was some of the dumbest, one of the dumbest reasons I've ever heard for men to even care about the Russell Wilson and Ciara thing. And for context, if you haven't gotten it from what I'm saying, I don't care. Like, honestly, I think what Russell's doing is normal. Like, it's what you should do if you date and marry a woman with a child. That's it. It just happens to be that he's famous and rich, so we have to see it. But if you're dating and marrying a woman with a child, you should, especially if you're dating and marrying a woman with a child who was a baby when you got with her. Like, if you get with someone and they got a 13, 14-year-old, no. And the father of that child is still in their life, then no. You don't necessarily have to take on that role per se, because that child has grown up without you. So yeah, be there, be a father figure, be in their life, but like, you don't have to do the raising of that child at that point. You know, they're getting older, they have their relationship they built with their dad. But you get with someone with a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, and you've been with them for the last 7-8 years. Why would I not be there, taking that child to games, throwing the football with them, taking them to places, letting them meet Steph Curry? Like, why would I not do that? Why are men mad at that? That's the part that's the part that's killing me and getting to me. Why are men mad at that? Now I realize, because I went through the comments too, and dudes were saying, not the dumbest, but the second dumbest thing I heard, but it was like, nah, you know, it's not that we mad at what Russ doing, is that we know she only got with a guy like Russ because after she had a kid with somebody like Future, we know she really want to be with a Future, not a Russ. I'm like, how y'all know that? Y'all know Ciara? Y'all went to high school together? Y'all had these conversations? Y'all sitting here making all of these assumptions about two people y'all have never met. Y'all projecting your own feelings about these celebrities because you're mad that you're a Future fan and you're mad that she's not with Future anymore, and she's with a good guy, by all accounts, filthy rich, treating her nice, like doing the things he's supposed to do, taking care of the kids she came into the relationship with, put 3 other babies in her for vibes, and living their life, enjoy, like literally just living their life. All of the stuff, because even the people talking about him getting credit, that's people giving him the credit. He's not saying nothing. He's posting the pictures. People are the ones who are talking about what he's doing. So you're mad that people are appreciating seeing a man be a good father and good husband? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand in 2024, 7-8 years being married, 3 kids of their own later, people are still talking about Russell Wilson. Like, I'm still talking about Russell Wilson and Ciara at this point. Enough. Like, let it go, guys. They together now. They are married. That is a family unit. Like, and if you are feeling some type of way because you have a child and your kid's mom has moved on, and so now you're projecting your own feelings about having some other man in the life of your child's mom, potentially raising your child, and that's what has you mad at Russell Wilson, I'm sorry, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. That is what happens when you break up with someone and you had a child with them. I'm speaking from experience, and I'm gonna tell you, like, it is just life. It is just the reality of life. All you can do is be a good father to your child, whether you're still with the mom or not. Do your part, whatever that your part is. Be active, be involved in their life, but like to sit here and get mad at Russell for doing things because he has access and the money to do it, and you have the money to do it too. Like, so to sit here and be mad at Russell is nuts. And it seems like y'all are more mad at Future. Y'all are more mad than Future. That's the worst part of it. I don't see nothing from Future. All I see is men in comments mad at Russell and Future minding his business with his other kids. So like, so that's the other part of dating somebody with children that I wanted to get to, because that was funny to me today. And lastly, on the social media topic, because this one was one that just, it annoyed my spirit and my soul to the point where I don't even comment a lot on stuff online, but this one prompted a comment. So yesterday, saw a post about an Atlanta hairdresser that went to a basketball game, was taken on a date to a basketball game, and left the person because they were bad seats. And the girl was on there talking about, this person hit me up to take me on a date and blah, 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 blah. And we out here in these seats. Again, it's on Spiritual Word. You can see it. If you haven't already, I'm sure most of you have already seen it, but if you haven't, you can find the story on Spiritual Word. So she complained about how terrible the seats were, that the person would take her out on a date and have her in these terrible seats. And then she posted from like a different set of seats, and still at the game, went to go buy food, got some chicken tenders, like posting videos of herself, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of people commented on it, like, yo, this is why men don't want to take us out. And some people was like, yo, these are terrible seats though. Like, and it sparked the conversation really quickly about like women just getting taking on dates and being ungrateful for this, for like to put somebody on blast for taking you on a date because the seats were not great. People commented on the girl's outfit, talking about, yo, that don't deserve courtside anyway. Like, oh, you eating chicken tenders, you shouldn't be courtside. Talked about her makeup. They really went in. So two things. First of all, I noticed that when you watch the video, she never said it was a guy. I don't even think it was, she meant that it was a guy. I'm pretty sure it was a girl because she always said they. She said this person. I watched it back a couple of times. So she was not even talking about a guy. Spiritual Word in their caption said he, and a lot of people assumed it was a guy. So for all the people who were talking about, because I had friends who posted about, yo, when a guy did this to me, yo, niggas are crazy, blah, blah, blah. They doing the most. They always saying stuff. And my friend, went off, and I was like, she ain't even actually said it was a guy. I'm pretty sure, 100% sure she's talking about a girl, right? But then I also said, she's also clearly lying. Like, this isn't real. This is for the gram. Because they tagged her in, and you go to her page and you saw that she creates content. She's a hairstylist, and she also, blogs and does content creation, all this other stuff. So I was like, yeah, this is a lie. Nobody took her on a date because she left the person, quote unquote, but stayed at the game in equally bad seats to post from where she was sitting to show how bad the seats were distance-wise, but said she left them. So I leave you to stay there. I don't even try to get better seats. And there were seats open in front of her. So I don't move down closer. I don't try to get better seats. If I had the money to buy, I could go see if there were still seats available at the box office and just pay for better seats. But be real, I'm already in here. If I see open seats in front of me, I could just walk down and sit in one of them. So left the person that bought the tickets to stay in equally terrible seats and post about it, but stay at the game and go and get tenders and all this other stuff and come back. I was like, guys, this is not real. This is a lie. She's clearly lying. She's doing this for likes and clicks on the gram. And Spiritual Word bought it because they believed it and posted it, and people bought it because they were commenting on it. I was like, this isn't real. And lo and behold, the next day, when people really started to jump in her DMs, and this is the part of social media that's super toxic that I don't like. Like, why are y'all commenting? Why are y'all DMing this girl? Even if you believe what she did was true, how did that affect or impact your life in any way? To be DMing her and actually verbally attacking her. If y'all did, I don't know but she said people did, right? Because it forced her to make a second video saying that it was fake. It was just a skit. Like her cousin got free tickets to the game, blah, 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 whatever. And she was just doing it. Wasn't real. So I'm like, two problems with that. One, why would you create this narrative? This post about this so-called date that you went on, that now you got women reliving their past trauma about terrible dates. You got random people siding with this imaginary person who took you on this date, quote unquote, and now is getting left behind to watch the game by themselves. And then you got people who are siding with you. Like, nah, them seats was mad far, yo. So you create this narrative for likes and attention on social media, and it's the toxicity of the social media environment that this was something that you thought made sense. And then who are y'all to attack this girl for, even if it was a true story? This don't impact you in any way. So that to me was also nuts. But it caused her to come out and say that the story was fake, which validated me because I always knew it was fake. So that was cool. But like at the end of the day, we all got to do better, y'all. Like some of y'all really, really need to take that social media break. Like when Instagram and Facebook shut down a couple days ago and y'all had to get off of it, I think some of y'all need a little bit more of that, because some of the content creators, and I create content, but I'm also from a time before content. So like I remember the real world. I still live in the real world. Like this is fun and interesting for me, but I definitely still just live in reality. Some of you who don't actually live in reality need to unplug for a little bit and learn about like the world around you, like learn about the real world. That goes for those of you who felt the need to comment and jump in her DMs, and it goes for the people who create these skits and pretend and don't do it like for entertainment, because doing it for entertainment, you're telling people this isn't real. A lot of you pretend it's real because you know that is what gets you the likes and the views and the reactions. The fact that you pretend that these are real situations, like dude and the girl with the McDonald's that bought the McDonald's for his kid but not the others. You know what I mean? Like I am at a point where I don't believe anything I see on social media, quite frankly. I just don't. I see the stories, I listen to them, I'm like, yeah, this is clearly fake. And I don't react to them because that's why my boy sent me something today and I was like, he was like, yeah, I know it's fake, but what's your thoughts, fellas? Like, I'm not giving this any of my energy because it's fake. Because like, yeah, but just play along. I'm like, no. I can't play along with some of it now because some of y'all are making up these completely egregious stories that is like, this is insulting my intelligence to even respond to it. So, and that's how I felt about this one. So, all of that to say, some of you all need this social media break that Mark tried to give us the other day and make y'all go talk to real people for a second and see that all of these things you see on the internet everything you see on the internet is not real. And even if it is real, if it doesn't impact or affect your life in any way, you can let it go. You can leave it alone. You don't always have to react or respond. So, but all right, guys, that has been this week's show. Like I told y'all, coming up next week, Dre and I will be back with the Guys Unpack podcast. I'm still going to be doing the Applying Logic podcast, but now that Dre is back from Trinidad, we're going to do a whole recap, unpacking of that. So look out for that. I also have some other stuff I'm working on. I got Hooky Weekend coming up. We're doing the Road to Hooky Weekend. Shout out to my homie, the Carnival Baby. We got some stuff in store for you guys. I got that content coming out soon. Keep it locked right here at Logic Promotions, logicpromotionsdc.com, Applying Logic Podcast, any of my social media links and accounts and pages, because I'm going to be dropping new stuff in the coming weeks for y'all. And really quickly, I got to say this before I sign off. It is March. This is the start of the third month of the year. So we are heading into the end of the first quarter. Why is that important? So this year I did something different and I made a list of my things I wanted to do. Not so much not a New Year's resolution, but just a list of my goals for 2024. Spelled them all out. It doesn't hurt that 24 is my favorite number. So like spelt it all out, right? And I broke down the goals into sections, like what I want to complete by the first quarter, what I want to complete by the end of the first half, third quarter, and end of the year. So if you have had any 2024 goals, things you want to accomplish, whether it's learning a new language, get a new job, get out of debt, lose weight, whatever it is, we are about to be a quarter way through the year. So this is the point where you need to start reevaluating, okay, where am I in terms of completion of this goal? And that's why I broke it down into sections to say, okay, I'm going to shorten the term. One, I wrote it down for the first time and I keep it visible. I keep it somewhere I can see it so I can be constantly reminded, here are your goals. Here's what you need to be done with by the end of March. Either you need to update it if you've completed it sooner, or adjust why you have not made the strides you were supposed to make within the 3 months. So all that to say, we are closing in on the first quarter of 2024 being done. So the things that you set out to accomplish, the goals you have, don't lose sight of them. Don't kick them to the curb. Don't forget them. Now is when you need to update what the goals are. If you've already accomplished them, great. Now set new ones. If you're behind, then this is a good checkpoint to say, hey, I haven't done these things that I said I would get done by the end of 2024. So this is your opportunity to figure out what you need to do to get the ball back rolling, to get back on track, regardless of what it is. Save money, new job, lose weight, learn a new language, whatever it is for you. here is where we're hitting that a good checkpoint. The first quarter of the year is about to be over. So that was my little bit of inspiration, because I'm doing the same. I am updating my list right now. So that said, I want to thank you guys again for tuning in, rocking with me on another episode of the Applying Logic podcast. Make sure you subscribe to get the notifications whenever we have new episodes. You can follow me on all podcast platforms. However you're listening to this, there's a bunch of other ways you can listen to it. If you are not watching the video is up on YouTube at Logic Promotions YouTube page. So I want to thank you guys again. I will be back next week with another brand new episode. If you have any topics you want me to discuss, anything you've seen on social media you want my take on, anything that you feel is pressing that needs my voice, by all means, feel free to shoot me a message. Let me know. I will be sure to get to those things. And until next week, I want you all to stay safe, and I will be back next week. All right? I am out.